Have you ever felt it? That invisible ceiling, that sense that you are living a smaller life than you were meant to live. You see the power, the passion, the unapologetic confidence in others, and you wonder, where is mine? We are taught to search for power outside of ourselves, in affirmations, in promotions, in the approval of others. But what if this entire search is misguided? What if the greatest, most authentic power you will ever possess is hidden in the very place you have been taught to fear the most? This is the radical and liberating secret of the shadow. The great psychologist Carl Jung taught that the parts of ourselves we suppress, our anger, our fear, our so-called darkness, do not simply disappear. They are not weaknesses to be eliminated. They are raw, untamed, psychic energy. And by pushing them into the darkness of the unconscious, we are cutting ourselves off from our most vital source of fuel. Your self-sabotage is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of immense, suppressed power, turning inward on itself. Today, we are not here to slay your dragons. We are here to learn how to ride them. This is a deep dive into the alchemy of shadow work. We will explore the shocking paradox of why embracing your darkness leads to your greatest light. We will learn how to translate the lead of your shadow qualities into the gold of authentic strengths. And I will guide you through a practical framework to begin reclaiming this potent, untamed energy as your own. This is not about becoming a darker person. It is about becoming a whole person. And a whole person is an undeniably powerful one. To begin this alchemical work, I invite you to make a bold declaration. Write in the comments below, "My power is in my wholeness." This feeling of powerlessness, this sense of playing small, where does it come from? It comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of power itself. We have been taught that power is control. Control over our emotions, control over our impulses, control over our dark side. We build a pristine, well-lit castle for our conscious identity, the persona, where we are kind, competent, and composed. And we build a deep, dark dungeon underneath it for everything else. Our anger, our ambition, our fear, our wildness. This is the shadow. We believe that by locking these things away, we are making ourselves stronger, safer, more acceptable. But Carl Jung taught a shocking and profound truth. Suppression is not strength. It is the primary source of our weakness. Because you cannot destroy a part of your own psyche. You can only disown it. And the energy of that disowned part does not disappear. It simply turns against you. Imagine your anger is a wild, powerful river. In a healthy psyche, this river flows freely, carving canyons, generating power, moving obstacles. But we are taught that anger is dangerous, unacceptable. So we build a massive dam to stop the river. We think we have controlled it. But the river's energy does not vanish. It builds up behind the dam. The pressure becomes immense, and this suppressed energy begins to leak out sideways, in toxic, destructive ways. It leaks out as passive aggression, as chronic procrastination, as depression, as a constant simmering resentment that poisons all of your relationships. Your self-sabotage is the sound of your own dammed-up power, cracking the foundations of your life. Let's meet James. He is 45, a mid-level manager known for being nice. He is the ultimate team player. He avoids conflict at all costs. He never raises his voice.
He has spent a lifetime suppressing his anger, believing it makes him a good person. His persona is that of the calm, agreeable peacemaker. But James's life is stagnant. He gets passed over for promotions. His creative projects never get off the ground. He feels a deep, abiding sense of frustration, a feeling of being stuck. He feels powerless. One day, a younger, more assertive colleague challenges one of his ideas in a meeting, quite disrespectfully. The wild river of James's anger begins to surge. This is a moment that calls for the warrior archetype, the part of him that can set a firm boundary, that can say with calm, clear power, "I will not be spoken to that way." But James has exiled his warrior to the shadow. He is terrified of his own anger. So he does what he always does. He smiles weakly. He says nothing. He avoids the conflict. He dams the river. But where does that powerful energy go? It doesn't go away. That evening, James gets home and finds that his kids have left their toys all over the living room floor, and he erupts, not with gentle correction, but with a disproportionate, furious rage that terrifies his children and confuses his wife. The immense energy of the warrior, suppressed at work where it was needed, has now leaked out sideways, contaminating the one place he wants to be a sanctuary. Later that night, consumed by shame, he sits in front of the television, mindlessly scrolling, feeling powerless. This is the great tragedy of the suppressed shadow. The very power you need to move your life forward is the power you have locked away because you are afraid of it. The core of this shadow work is to understand that the contents of your shadow are not just monsters. They are your raw, untamed life force energy. As the poet Robert Bly wrote, we each have a long bag that we drag behind us, filled with all the parts of ourselves we were forced to disown in order to survive our childhood. To be a good boy, James had to put his aggression and his fierceness into the bag. To be a good girl, a woman might have had to put her ambition and her healthy selfishness into the bag. We spend the first half of our life filling this bag. And the task of the second half of life, the great work of individuation that Carl Jung described, is to have the courage to stop, turn around, and open the bag. To look inside, not with judgment, but with curiosity. And to begin the slow, deliberate process of taking these lost parts of ourselves back. This is not a journey for the faint of heart. It is scary, because the parts we have locked away for 30 years have become wild, primitive. They are not the sophisticated, integrated strengths they could have been. They are raw, explosive energy. But the secret is this: they are not your enemies. They are the exiled parts of your own kingdom. And they hold the very power you have been searching for. The power to say no. The power to create. The power to live a life that is not just safe, but truly, authentically, and vibrantly alive.
To open the shadow bag is a courageous first step. But what do we do with what we find inside? How do we handle these raw, primitive, and often terrifying energies without being consumed by them? The secret lies not in controlling them, but in translating them. Every shadow quality is a distorted, undeveloped version of a magnificent golden strength. Our task, as alchemists of the soul, is to learn how to see the gold within the lead. This is the practical heart of shadow work. Let's begin with the most feared and misunderstood shadow energy of all, anger. We are taught that anger is destructive, negative, unspiritual, and in its raw, unconscious form, it can be. The repressed anger of James, our nice guy manager, exploded destructively onto his children. That is the lead of anger: blame, aggression, cruelty, resentment. But what is the gold? The gold of anger is passion and clarity. Anger is pure life force energy. It is the part of your psyche that knows what is important to you and what is not okay. It is the guardian of your boundaries. When you feel a surge of authentic anger, it is a sacred messenger. It is telling you a core value has been violated here. Pay attention. A person who has a healthy relationship with their anger is not an angry person. They are a passionate person. They have access to the fuel they need to protect their loved ones, to fight for a cause they believe in, to say a clear and powerful no to what harms them. To integrate your anger is to transform the wildfire that burns down the village into the focused flame that forges a sword. Let's look at another exiled energy, fear. We live in a culture that despises fear. We are told to be fearless, so we push our fear into the shadow. The lead of fear is obvious: anxiety, paralysis, avoidance, worry. It keeps our lives small and safe. But what is the hidden gold in fear? The gold of fear is intuition and readiness. Fear is an ancient, intelligent system. It is your psyche's advance warning system. It is the part of you that can sense danger long before your rational mind can see it. A healthy fear is not paranoia. It is heightened awareness. Think of a skilled wilderness guide. She is not fearless. She is deeply attuned to the subtle signals of the environment, the sound of a twig snapping, the change in the wind. Her fear is a finely tuned instrument of perception that keeps her and those she is leading safe. To integrate your fear is to learn to listen to its quiet whispers instead of waiting for its paralyzing screams. It is to transform the panicky animal that flees from every shadow into the wise scout who can read the map of an uncertain future. And what about a quality we often judge in ourselves and others? Selfishness. To be called selfish is one of the deepest insults in our culture, especially for women. So we exile any hint of it into our shadow. The lead of selfishness is narcissism, exploitation, a lack of empathy. But what is the gold? The profound, essential gold of selfishness is self-preservation and vocation. A healthy selfishness is the ability to recognize that you are a precious and finite vessel. It is the wisdom to put on your own oxygen mask first. It is the understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. For so many healers, helpers, and mothers, integrating this shadow of selfishness is the most crucial work they can do. It is learning to say, my energy, my well-being, my dreams matter too. Moreover, your healthy selfishness is what allows you to find your true calling. As the great mythologist Joseph Campbell said, your bliss is often found in the very thing the world might call selfish. The artist who locks herself away for 5 hours to paint, ignoring the calls of the world, is performing a sacred act of selfishness. And the gift she brings back from that solitude enriches us all. Anger as passion, fear as intuition, selfishness as self-preservation. This is the alchemical language of the soul. This is the core of the work that Carl Jung called integration. It is a process of reclamation. You are not trying to get rid of your bad parts. You are helping them to grow up. You are taking the raw, primitive energy that was exiled in childhood, and you are consciously and lovingly helping it to mature into its golden, powerful, and integrated adult form. This is the secret that your shadow holds. It is not a crypt of your failures. It is a nursery of your greatest undeveloped strengths. And it is waiting for you, the wise, loving parent of your own soul, to finally come and help it grow. To know that your anger holds your passion is one thing. To learn how to express that passion without causing destruction is the art of integration. This is where the deep theory of Carl Jung meets the practical reality of your life. Integration is not a passive process of understanding. It is an active process of transmutation. It is about consciously choosing a higher expression for a primitive energy. So how do we begin this delicate and powerful work? We do not begin by trying to unleash our anger in a board meeting. That would be disastrous. The untamed shadow energy is like a wild horse. You do not simply open the gate and hope for the best. First, you must build a relationship with the horse. You must learn its language. You must earn its trust. I want to guide you through a 3-step practice to begin this process of transmutation. This is a foundational exercise in embodied shadow work. We will call it the energy transmutation. The next time you feel a strong, difficult shadow emotion rising, anger, fear, envy, your first instinct will be to suppress it or to act it out unconsciously. This practice gives you a third option, a conscious, creative, and powerful one. Step 1. Acknowledge and welcome the energy. This is the radical act of stopping the internal war. When you feel that familiar surge of anger or the cold knot of fear, do not push it away. Instead, pause. Close your eyes if you can. Turn your attention inward to your physical body. Where do you feel this energy? Is it a hot fire in your chest, a tightness in your jaw, a cold hollowness in your stomach? Simply notice it without judgment. And then you will say a silent, welcoming phrase. Hello, anger. I see you. You are welcome here. Hello, fear. I feel you. You are allowed to exist. This simple act is revolutionary. You are shifting from being the victim of the emotion to being the compassionate witness of the energy. You are creating a space between you and the raw power. Step 2. Ask for the message. Every shadow emotion is a messenger carrying a piece of vital information from your unconscious. Once you have welcomed the energy, you must ask for its message. You can ask silently in your mind. Anger, what boundary of mine has been crossed? Fear, what are you trying to help me prepare for? Sadness, what is it that I have lost that is worthy of my tears? Envy, what disowned part of my own potential are you showing me? You are not asking for a story. You are not asking for blame. You are asking for the core essential wisdom that the emotion is carrying. Listen for the answer. It may not come in words. It might be a single image, a gut feeling, a quiet knowing. The anger of James, our manager, if he had listened, would have told him, "Our dignity has been violated. Our contribution has been dismissed. This is not acceptable." The fear of a new entrepreneur might whisper, "We have not prepared enough for the presentation. There are details we have overlooked." The message is always there, beneath the noise of the raw emotion. And now for the final alchemical step. Step 3. Redirect the fuel. Once you have received the message, you now hold the raw energy in your hands like a lump of powerful, unshaped clay. You have a choice. You can let it explode destructively, as James did with his family. Or you can consciously choose to channel that same energy into a constructive, creative, or courageous act. You are going to give the wild horse a job. How does this look in practice? James, having acknowledged his anger and received its message about his violated dignity, now holds a massive amount of powerful, fiery energy. The destructive path is to scream at his colleague. The suppressive path is to swallow it and develop an ulcer. The integrative, alchemical path is to take that same fiery energy and use it to fuel a difficult but necessary conversation. He can walk into his colleague's office the next day and say, with a calm, clear, and powerful voice, fueled by that integrated anger, "The way you spoke to me in the meeting yesterday was not respectful. I am open to debating ideas, but I will not be dismissed." He has not destroyed the anger. He has transmuted it. He has turned the lead of rage into the gold of a powerful boundary. The woman feeling the cold knot of fear before a presentation, once she has listened to its message about being unprepared, can use that same anxious energy. She can channel it not into panic, but into 2 more hours of focused, meticulous preparation. She turns the lead of anxiety into the gold of excellence. This is the secret to authentic power that Carl Jung's work illuminates. Authentic power is not the absence of a shadow. It is the ability to dance with your shadow. It is the wisdom to know that your darkness is not your enemy. It is your ally in disguise. It is the source of your greatest passion, your deepest intuition, your most unshakable strength. It is the wild, untamed river that once you learn to work with it instead of against it, can power the entire city of your soul. Your wholeness is your power, and your shadow holds the key.
Today, we have journeyed into the dark mine of the psyche, and we have come back with gold. We have stood before the wild river of our own power, not with a dam, but with a turbine. We began by unmasking the great paradox of powerlessness, that our self-sabotage is not a sign of weakness, but of immense, suppressed strength turning against itself. Through the story of James, we saw how the energy of a warrior, when disowned, can become the poison of a household. Then we became alchemists. Guided by the profound wisdom of Carl Jung, we learned to translate the lead of our darkest qualities into the gold of our greatest strengths. We discovered that anger is the raw fuel of passion, that fear is the seed of intuition, that selfishness holds the key to sacred self-preservation. We learned that the shadow is not a crypt of our failures, but a nursery of our undeveloped potential. And finally, we transformed this knowledge into a living practice. Through the 3 steps of the energy transmutation, acknowledging the energy, asking for its message, and redirecting its fuel, we found a conscious, creative, and powerful third option. A path that is neither suppression nor unconscious explosion, a path of integration. This is the heart of a mature shadow work practice. The secret to authentic power is not to become a perfect, flawless, enlightened being who is above their own darkness. That is a fragile, hollow power based on control. True, authentic power is the power of wholeness. It is the unshakable strength that comes from having faced your own inner dragons and realizing they were not there to be slain. They were there to be integrated. They were there to offer you their fire. A person who has done this work has a different quality to them, a quiet confidence, a deep sense of rootedness. They are not easily provoked because they are not at war with themselves. They are not afraid of the darkness in others because they have made peace with their own.
They do not seek power over others because they have discovered the immense, renewable source of power within. This is the ultimate promise of this journey. But one of the first and most practical places this newfound power shows up is in your relationship with your own mind. Specifically, in your relationship with that relentless, nagging internal voice of self-criticism. That voice, as we've learned, is a shadow guardian. But how does it operate? And how can we apply these alchemical principles to transform its constant negativity? How do we take the lead of the inner critic and transmute it into the gold of self-compassion? That is the deep, healing, and liberating work we will do in our next conversation as we explore the shadow in your constant self-criticism. For now, your invitation is to take the first step in becoming an alchemist of your own soul. It is a commitment to see your own darkness not as a curse, but as a calling. To honor this commitment, I invite you to share a courageous insight in the comments below. Tell us, what is one shadow quality in you that you are now willing to see as a potential source of power? Is it your anger, your fear, your envy, your sadness? By naming it here, you are planting a flag. You are declaring that you are no longer running from your own power. You are turning to face it. You are ready to claim it. And in that turning, your true, authentic life begins.